Hello, brothers and sisters. I want to share a two-part dream that had a message from God, as well as a third dream I had right after. I'll share a dream I had on April 14, 2021 about Christmas and Betty White. As you heard, Betty White passed away at 99 years of age. There are some codes in the headlines according to Gematria, which I'll show you right now. It's also the second day of Hanukkah. When Judah Maccabee rededicated the temple, they didn't have enough oil to keep the menorah running, but God miraculously increased the oil. It's a tradition to make donuts on Hanukkah. I had a prophetic dream about donuts, which inspired my last video about free donuts. So today, I woke up, December 31st, Kislev 27. I had a dream of a log with a bronze copper being smashed into it with a sledgehammer. It turned into an offering plate. I heard the words, "They just don't understand that it is Jesus that saves them, not money." I went to sleep and had another dream, a continuance of God's message. People think their offerings are worth something, but right now they are worthless. The only offering that means anything is my son Jesus. Offering Jesus to people who don't have him is a sweeter scent to me than giving money to the church in a dead building full of dead people. The third dream I had was in a bathroom. I was able to renovate the inside of it. It was between two rooms and there needed to be some privacy, so I put up 2 privacy curtains and everyone was able to take a shower and come in to the other side. Here's my Black Horse Judgment Dream transcript on April 14th, 2021. I had it at 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. I saw my mom. She passed away a long time ago from cancer. It was Christmas. I had woken up and saw different presents placed upon a table, and there was glitter in the shape of Christmas decorations on the counters. I saw a can of chicken and pork. This may represent duality, choosing God versus eating unclean pork. I looked at all of them, but wasn't quite happy. I looked around and saw my mom, so I ran up to her, gave her a hug, and I woke up crying. I had another dream where I woke up in purgatory. I was being shown lessons and judgments. At first, I was a man on a horse, a black man. So black horse. I came up to a man's house on the horse, and I was an authority, like a police officer, old-time police officer, if you will. I asked the man in the house if he had seen a missing person. He said he didn't. He looked like a regular guy with medium black wavy hair. It looked like it was in the 70s or 80s, and the man reminded me of Jeffrey Dahmer. His story checked out, so I wrote it down in my handbook. As I was leaving, I saw him pull out a handkerchief with blood on it. I put my pack on my horse and went to keep riding. However, I was curious, so I went around the back and found a barn. The barn was full of human bones being processed in like this water wheel. It held 5 men, women, or children who had their bodies being stripped of flesh. The man had diagrams of human bodies. The wheel had water in it. As it was rotating, the bones would slosh down to the bottom and make an infernal sloshing sound, eventually breaking apart into small chips. They were breaking apart and the rest of the flesh was being sloughed off. They had chemicals and were making glue, etc. out of the human materials, like the Nazis. This man was a serial killer. He was eating his victims. He seemed like Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy. He came to the barn and saw that I was there. There was another farmer man who was his accomplice. They were holding a scimitar and a hoe, and I took out my gun and shot them both, and they got back up and they were coming after me. So I started running, and I dropped my gun, and I kept running and running through a field, through the streets, and kept going. The road was really long, and it wouldn't end, and my shoes started to wear down to my feet. The road broke into broken glass, and I had to keep running until my feet bled down to the bone. The man started to catch up behind me, and there was this great hallway with glass ceramics all around on the shelves. I tried to fly away, and as I started to lift up, I lifted up past their reach. I threw a piece of glass at the man, and I woke up in a shop. There were anatomic figures. People were placing flesh on the anatomic figures and bones. Then they came to me. They were about to strip the flesh from my body with the scalpel, but I said that would hurt. So they placed flesh over my flesh. I looked in a mirror and saw myself. They gave me a scalpel, but the scalpel had a razor blade inside of it running along, and as I grabbed into it, the scalpel cut my hand and I bled. I was made to run down an alleyway. There were people lining the streets, people of all ages. As I was running, I saw these people, and they would come after me in order to try and strip me of parts. As I was running, I saw a kid with a gun. They went to point their gun at me, but I stabbed him in the head with the double-edged scalpel in my hand. As I took a closer look, this kid had his throat slit and it was stitched back up. All the people were pale white. These people were already dead. The people were made to live, but were already dead. I kept running and stabbing people in their heads, trying to put them out of their misery, because I was told all these people were the ones that were trying to kill me, but it turns out all these people were the ones who were killed by the serial killer. I then thought about it. I knew life and death was out of my control and wished they hadn't have died or been killed. So I threw down my scalpel, and then I was shown everything that happened to this kid on a diagram chart. It was awful. The kid was looking miraculously pink, like he came back to life, and then he turned into an angel and flew up. I kept running, and these people got a knife and managed to hold me down, and they cut one of my ribs outside of my chest, and it hurt like heck. Then I was in a doctor's office. They stitched open abdomen from my rib without anesthetics, which hurt, and then it healed miraculously fast, and then they pulled out the deep stitches out of my abdomen, which hurt as well. I was told, once you kill, even if you think you're justified or in law enforcement, becomes a slippery slope and may end up becoming the thing that you never intended it to be. Also, the actions you take ultimately make up your determination, which causes you to become who you are by your choices. These actions narrow down the road upon which you travel unless you turn back and make a U-turn on a better path. Then I was standing in a field. There was this doctor's scale. It was numbered 1 through 10. 1 through 7 was white, and then beyond 7 to 10 was red. I was strapped in a chair in a truth detector. There was also an old woman with short white hair dressed in white. It was connected to the truth detector we were both hooked up to. She reminded me of Betty White. Then I said, "What is this?" I was told a game is going to be played. The rules of the game was to tell your sins and the truth or facts about yourself. If you told a lie, you would have to shoot the other with a gun wherever you chose. We were both carrying guns. We would feel the pain, but we wouldn't die. Also, if you told a sin past the 7 mark, you'd have to shoot the other person. So I asked, "Is this the judgment room?" The scale tipped to 10. I said, "Is this the point of confession?" The scale tipped to 10, an absolute 10. I said, "If I tell a lie, will I be disqualified?" The scale also tipped to 10, which was a yes. So I was told, "What is your deepest sin?" I said, "Can I test the scale first?" I was told I could, so I asked if I had been abused as a kid. It tipped to 10. I asked if my parents went to jail. It tipped to 10. Then I was told the actions you take or perform upon others start to form different roads upon which they will travel. If you do good upon others, it opens up good roads. If you do bad upon others, it opens up roads of sin they may travel. Most roads are bad, but some are good. Even the way you talk to people will affect them. Bad roads were placed in front of me by my parents. This is known as a curse. I waited for a couple moments and gave in. I released my breath and sighed. I let go of the weight of my neck and my head fell down, and I muttered my deepest sin. The scale went to 8, the tipping point, in the red, just past 7. 1 through 7 were the 7 deadly sins. 8 was committing acts or sins or thoughts of sins on the path to destruction, or going down roads of sin on the way to committing a 9 or a 10. At the point in which you committed your deepest sin. 8 was the tipping point, the point at which one would enter into purgatory to be judged, the last call to turn to Jesus before 9, which was murder or rape, an intentional murder, and 10 was mass murder, an intentional mass killing. Killing was determined by intent. If you were defending yourself, it became a slippery road as you were still killing, and it would become easier to defend yourself with deadly force, even though it wasn't called for, which could turn into something unintended. I said, "Will this be the final determination for me?" It tipped to 2. 1 was yes, 2 was no. I was told to shoot the lady because I was told anything past 7 you had to shoot. So she put up her hands, and I pointed to her left hand with my gun, and I shot her hand. She said, "Oh, bless him, he didn't want to give me a mortal wound." And then she picked up her gun. I put up my hands thinking she was going to do the same thing to me, but we could shoot wherever we wanted. So she actually went bang and shot me in the forehead, and then I woke up from that dream. So according to that dream, if you do bad to others or you sin against other people, their reaction will cause them to sin a lot of the time. So if you sin against others, people will sin against you and other people, which will narrow their road. So every single action or choice you make, the way you even try and talk to people, will change their course of action in their life, which may lead them to roads of destruction or roads of holiness. What you want to do is try and lead people down roads of holiness, because if you don't, that is also a sin. And just like Betty White dying here right near Christmas at the age of 99, in April I had a dream of Betty White and dying near Christmas. All right, amen, God bless, and take care.